In today's episode,
but if you approach them to be in your podcast and start a relationship that way.
welcome back to Weekly Business Podcast by Ruhi. So today I'm joined by a very special guest, Seth Greene, who is the co-host of the SharkPreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and is the CEO of Market Domination LLC. So hi Seth, would you kind of be able to briefly explain to the audience who you are and what you do?
Sure. So we grow your business so you can run it at marketdominationllc.com and growyourown.cult.com. We grow you a cult of 50 evangelists who will grow your business every single week for a year. I got started as a college financial aid planner, helping families reduce the cost of college, $19,077 per year at howtofindmoneyforcollege.com. And the direct response marketing I learned to grow that business was so successful, it made me one of the top 30 financial aid officer planners in the country nationwide for opening new accounts. I was then that then spun off a separate marketing company, marketdominationllc.com, which helps other businesses and professional practices grow their business. I started that marketing firm because of the demand of clients who wanted help growing their business the way I grew mine. We started it 14 years ago. It started out as just me, and now we've served thousands of clients and have dozens and dozens of team members, and it's been an incredible journey.
Wow, fantastic. I was actually just about to ask you kind of what was your journey like founding Market Domination LLC, and I think you kind of captured that very well. And yeah, I think everything kind of came full circle for you with, starting into direct response marketing, as you mentioned, and now kind of making a business out of helping other people do the same. So I wanted to kind of understand from you, so what is direct response marketing?
So there's two types of marketing, in our opinion. Brand building, which is something a traditional ad agency would do. Think Nike with commercials that say, just do it, or Coca-Cola. They're trying to build brands. And if you have billions of dollars and endless amounts of time, you can spend money on brand advertising to get people to recognize your slogan or logo and eventually buy shoes or your soft drink. Most business owners can't afford to do that. They don't have that kind of money or that kind of time. Direct response marketing is designed to call out to one specific target market and generate an immediate response right away that's trackable. So I literally know if I spend $1,000 in 2 weeks on direct response marketing, I know exactly how many leads I got, how many appointments I got, how many sales I got, and how much money I made, and what the return on my investment was.
Fantastic. So kind of just to recap for the audience today. So direct response marketing is kind of going after a specific market with a trackable response that can kind of be quantified. So I wanted to kind of now branch off into your new book, Market Domination for Podcasting. And I wanted to kind of understand from you what this book was about and if you could share anything with the audience on this.
So the book is about how to grow your business with a podcast. And there are two ways to do that. One is by being a guest on other people's shows. And the book talks about how to research shows that have your target market as their listeners, how to get yourself booked on those shows as a guest, and then how to have a great podcast and make it profitable. And then the second half of the book talks about why you as a business owner or entrepreneur should have your own show, how you can use that to grow a cult of 50 evangelists who will grow your brand every week for a year, all of the different ways you can repurpose content, all of the different ways you can change the structure and style of an interview to generate more leads, more referrals, and more business for your business.
Fantastic. So just kind of on that topic of podcasting. So I understand that you run a podcast with Kevin Harrington. So I wanted to kind of understand from you, what was your experience like running the SharkPreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington?
Experience has been fantastic. We've been doing it for years, and I air an episode with Kevin as the co-host probably once a week. And then I air another episode myself every single day, 5 days a week. And it's been incredible. I have met people I otherwise never could have met. I've acquired clients for our business because of it. I've acquired speaking gigs, media opportunities, joint venture partners. I've learned a ton watching Kevin, doing interviews with him, seeing how he approaches people, how he generates deals, how he works. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for kind of sharing your experience and how it is like running the SharkPreneur podcast. So I wanted to kind of end it off with, in your previous point on the market domination for podcasting, you had addressed about something on cult of 50 evangelists for your brand. So I wanted to kind of understand from you, how do you grow a cult of 50 evangelists for your brand?
So we believe that if you try to approach people and ask them to promote you, it probably wouldn't go very well, especially if they don't know you. But if you approach them to be in your podcast and start a relationship that way, you won't be perceived as a salesperson or trying to sell anything. If you use that as the jumping off point to build that relationship, most likely that guest will share the podcast, they'll share the audio, they'll share the video, they'll share the blog post that comes out of it, they'll share the book that comes out of it, which are different ways we repurpose content. And then you'll have added so much value to them by promoting all of those things that you can then use that reciprocity and goodwill that you've built up to then get them to be willing to promote you directly to their list, sharing their passion for your brand with their following. And if you do that every single week, that's 50 evangelists, 50 weeks a year.
That's a kind of fantastic framework you've shared with the audience today of how they could also start growing a cult of 50 evangelists for their brand, focusing on building relationships on podcasting and adding as much value as you can. So I wanted to end this off with any kind of things you can discuss on the future of Market Domination LLC.
Innovating. We are always looking for more ways to serve our clients. We are always looking for more ways to add value to our services. We come up with new services every single year. We enter new verticals and enter new markets every single year. And I think the world of marketing comes down to two things. It comes down to like a math, the marketing math, cost per click, cost per lead, cost per client, ROI. And then it comes down to behavioral psychology, why people do the things they do. I don't think the behavioral psych will ever change. The math is always changing because there's always a new form of media, like a new social network, to market your products or services on. So we're always learning something new. We're always bringing it back to add our clients. And I can't wait to see what we do next.
Fantastic. I'm wishing you all the success with the expansion of future of Market Domination LLC into different markets. So my last question was, so any kind of next steps and how can the audience get in touch?
So I'd love for you to listen to the SharkPreneur podcast. If you just search SharkPreneur, either on any podcast platform or Google, you'll find it. If you are interested in growing your own cult of 50 evangelists, check out growyourown.cult.com. We have a 37 page ebook that explains our step-by-step process. On Amazon, it sells for $14. For your listeners, if they go to growyourown.cult.com, it'll be half off. It'll be the best $7 they ever invest in their business. And if they want to learn more about setting up a time to work with us and learning about our full suite of services, that's available at marketdominationllc.com.
Sharing the next steps, and also a big thank you for agreeing to come on the podcast and share a lot of value with the audience today on direct response marketing and kind of your journey and your experience. Now, just a small request. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review the podcast in Apple Podcast. Or if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you follow there, subscribe, and share the podcast with other people. Hope you learned something new today and looking forward to connecting next week.